Hi everyone, welcome back to Lola's Frugal Life podcast. Today we're going to be doing another mini summer episode for my semi-break from podcasting this summer. I'm just doing really quick episodes this summer, and I'm not making blog posts to go along with them like I usually do. Of course, I will still be doing my weekly blog posts for the meal plans. But this week, I was just looking at my podcast stats, and it kind of shows you like your most played episode of all time. And my most played episode is an episode on zone cleaning. Weekly zone cleaning, Fly Lady. But I guess I forget exactly what I was doing. I think I was just kind of saying in that episode what I was working on in the zone that week or what I had on my list. I used to do weekly zone cleaning episodes where I would share what I was working on in what zone I was working on. So I just wanted to do a really quick episode because I figure since that's the most listened to episode, there must be some interest in zone cleaning. And while I've been kind of skipping out on zone cleaning a little bit during the summer because I'm really trying to just spend a lot of time having fun in the nice weather, I thought it would be a good idea to talk about it quickly because I have been thinking about it, and I was thinking about how much it has changed since I first learned about zone cleaning as far as how I follow it. So if you're not familiar with Fly Lady, one of her main things, I don't know what you call it, but like one of her main parts of her kind of way of maintaining your home is to follow zone cleaning. So you have like your basic stuff that you do on a daily basis, but then you have a zone that you're working on in your home each week. And say like the first week of the month might be zone 1, which might be say your living room, and then zone 2 might be your kitchen, and that would be week 2 of the month, and so on. So you have different zones you work on, and you see like what zone we're in this week, and you work in that zone. Which to me, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever when I first heard about it. I really love the concept. I've always struggled with kind of knowing like what I should be working on and when, and am I rotating things enough? And I don't know why. I totally overthink it, but it really was just like, wow, this is like perfect for me. But then what happened over time is it would be week 1 and I would get really busy and I wouldn't get to do the things in week 1, whatever zone 1 was for that week. Say whatever zone we were in for, say, week 1. So then the next week would come, so I would start working in whatever zone was assigned for that week. But then I missed last week's zone, so now it's going to be a whole nother month until I get to that stuff. And then what if I happen to miss it again? That week happens to be a busy week again, and now I've missed that zone 2 months. So now we're going on 3 months that I haven't touched anything in that area. So I would like start to stress over that because I was like, well, this isn't working for me because if I don't get to work in that zone when it comes, then I'm going to have to wait a whole nother month until it comes back around again. And now I'm overloaded in things I have to do. And it just kind of like worked for me, but then didn't work for me. And one time I was watching Steph on A Slob Comes Clean. I love her YouTube channel, and she has a podcast now too, although she hasn't really been putting out many episodes, but she has a podcast with her sister that I really love when they make episodes. She's kind of slowed down a little bit right now because I think she was just kind of overdoing it and she just needed like a break. But anyway, she was explaining, and I forget how she explains like what the term she is for it, but she basically like rotates. It's kind of like a rolling schedule of the zones. So she doesn't care what week of the month it is, or like if week 1 is supposed to be zone 1 or whatever zone you're supposed to be working in that week. What she does is she just rolls from one zone to the next. So she'll do tasks in zone 1, and then when she's done doing whatever tasks in zone 1 for whatever period of time she's going to do, then she'll do tasks in zone 2. Then she'll do tasks in zone 3. So it's just kind of like a rolling schedule. So you never feel like, okay, well, great, I did zone 2 like 4 months perfectly straight, but I haven't touched zones 1 or 3 in like 3 months. Because you're not doing it based on the week of the month, you're doing it on a rolling schedule. So you're just kind of gradually, as you have time, working through zone, then the next one, then the next one, the next one, then you finally come back to zone 1 and you start over again. So there's no rule that says today you have to be working in this zone. You work in whatever zone you choose to work in based on whatever one you just kind of completed or you did enough tasks in. So when I heard her say that, I was like, that is what I need. I need to do this like rolling zone cleaning so that I don't feel like, oh, well, I missed zone 1. I guess I have to put that stuff aside till a month comes around. You just do what you have time to do, and you do whatever you're going to do in that zone until you feel it's time to move to the next one. And then to take that a little bit further, what I really started doing is I have this app called Tody, Tody. I have the free version. I think is it free? I might have paid for it. Honestly, I don't remember anymore. If I paid for it, it wasn't very expensive. But it has all of the zones in it. And then you can tell it like how often you want to do certain tasks. And then what I do is I just sort the tasks by what hasn't been done, like what's the most past due, because I always have things that are like way past due that I'm like, oh yeah, I really need to get to that. So I'll do that to prioritize my cleaning. So it's kind of like by zone, because I do have the zone set up. You could set up the zone. So like if I'm cleaning the bathroom, I'll look in the bathroom and be like, oh, I haven't wiped off the top of the medicine cabinet in however long that really needs to get done. I'll do that today. So I use that as far as like when working in the zones, but then I also use it like as an overall, like what do I really need to get to? And that way, if I have a small amount of time to clean, I can just look at that and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is most important. And it just gives me a structure. It tells me what to clean, and I don't have to like overthink, like, when did I last do this? When did I last do that? What should I do first? And waste time kind of overthinking rather than just actually doing. So that's kind of my thoughts. This is, again, like I said, just a really quick episode. And I was thinking about zone cleaning because I noticed it's one of the most listened to episodes. It is the most listened to episode of all of my episodes by quite a large number. So I thought maybe some of you might be interested in it, and I just wanted to share that's kind of how I have been doing it, and it works a lot better for me rather than trying to stick to those exact zones that line up with certain weeks of the month. So that's it for today. I thank you so much for listening, and I will see you back here next week. So thank you for checking in for this podcast episode, and don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at lolasfrugallife. And you can find a blog post for most of my episodes and definitely all of my meal plan episodes at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I could see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast. Those ratings and reviews are what help the show come up better in search results so that other people can find this podcast. So that will really help me in growing my audience. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.